Are you guys looking to buy a few things for your kitchen that's going to elevate your cooking experience and make you more efficient? Well, in this video, I'm going to recommend some of the best kitchen tools that I've bought that were under $20. And I guarantee that not only are they going to make you a better cook and make your kitchen more efficient, but they're actually going to be things that you're going to use every single day, day in and day out to make amazing food. Let's dive in. So everything that I'm mentioning to you guys today will be under $20, and I'll make sure to put all of the Amazon affiliate links below. Now, as a full disclaimer, when you do click on the link, I get a small commission. It doesn't cost you anything to click on the link or buy the products. I also want to make a point that none of these items are sponsored. I am not affiliated with any of these specific brands or manufacturers. These are just things that I have personally purchased, that I have in the kitchen, that I know were good buys that you're not just going to throw out and never use again. So these are my personal items that I've bought over the years that I'm recommending to you. And we're not going to talk about pots or pans or any, pricey items. I have some dedicated videos on pots and pans and skillets. These are specifically kitchen tools that are under 20 bucks that I know will help you be more efficient and things that you're going to need on a daily basis, especially if you love cooking like I do. Okay, let's start off with one of the most underestimated items for your kitchen, and that would be a good kitchen strainer. Whether you're cooking pasta and you need to drain the pasta, or you're washing and preparing rice, a good kitchen strainer is essential for everyday cooking. We're all kind of guilty of this. I was guilty of this, kind of laziness, but when I had some pasta and I needed to drain it, I would put a large spatula in there to kind of hold the pasta from falling over and drain it that way. But that can get really old really quick. When I first was looking into a good kitchen strainer, I wanted something that was quick, compact, wouldn't take a lot of space, and easy to put on and take off. Or even worse, something that I really dreaded taking out and putting back in and so forth. So especially for like pasta making, which I make a lot of pasta, I wanted something efficient. And I actually stumbled upon this little device off of Amazon. It's a high temperature silicone based kitchen strainer. It actually just clips onto your pots and pans, and then you can just use your pot as a strainer. And when you're ready to dump out the water, just go over your sink and let this strainer do all the work. It's made with safe materials, and you're not gonna have to worry about this thing degrading or, burning or anything like that. I've had it for 4 years now, and it's never let me down, and it comes in at $12, so it's a heck of a value. I love that it's really compact. I can just grab it, clip it onto my pots and pans, and it does all the work for me. We really do use that almost every day. I mean, we use it when we're cooking pasta, we use it when we're washing our food and our vegetables. It just makes life really easy. Now, it has some pretty large ports, and it's not actually designed for rice, so that actually brings me to my second strainer that I think every kitchen should have. Now, this one's actually a bowl. You can't really find a rice strainer that clips onto pots and pans like the previous one because rice is so fine. You need something that will hold it in place. This particular model is made by Oxo Grip, and what I love about it is it has nice fine ports on the bottom to help you clean your rice out, and none of the grains ever slip out of this thing. And I'm talking about really fine things. I mean, you don't just have to use it for rice. Then you have another port right here when you're pouring things out that's really helpful to catch some of that excessive liquid. I really love this rice strainer, and it also comes in at $12. Speaking of rice, if you cook a lot of rice, I highly recommend a dedicated rice cooker. I know a lot of you guys out there are gonna say I can cook my own rice in a pot. And I agree with you, and for the most part, yes, I can too, except when I'm really busy and there's a lot of things going on. And just having a dedicated rice machine that I can set and forget, and it'll take care of everything for me. And if I run out of time, I know that it's not gonna overcook or burn the rice, is a great thing to have in a kitchen. Now, the one that I have, I think makes 3 or 4 cups of rice, which is plenty for us. And I've had it for over a year. It's never burnt the rice. I've never had any issues with it failing, overheating, catching on fire, anything like that. It's pretty reliable, and it's really easy to clean. And this dedicated rice maker comes in at exactly $20. So really, for that price range, it's a great asset to have in a kitchen if you cook a lot of rice at home. Okay, now let's move on to the next item, and that's gonna be chopping and dicing. Now, I gotta admit to you guys, I prefer using my kitchen knives. Whenever I'm prepping my vegetables, onions, fruit, whatever, I prefer to grab a good sharp kitchen knife and go to town. But there's times when the prep work is just really extensive, and particularly when you're making ceviche. For those of you guys that love ceviche, Prepping the onions, the tomatoes, the cucumber, whatever, however way you make your ceviche can be very time consuming. So insert a press chopper. This one's made by Mueller from Australia, and it's a really good chopper. It has pretty adequate storage, and what I really love about it is they give you several attachments. So if you want to make, fine dices or even like cut some julienne slices or whatever, it definitely gives you a lot of flexibility and range for several different recipes. The blades are extremely sharp, so be really careful when you're using a press dicer. Now they're not gonna 100% dice everything. For large items like cucumbers, or even some onions, you might have to cut them in half before actually placing them in the dicer. But trust me, when you're prepping something like ceviche, they come in extremely handy. Like, we just press everything. We know we have all the ingredients that we need on the bottom of the tray that catches everything for us, and we're good to go. This particular model I've had for 4 years or so. I originally bought it for $20. They are relatively cheap now. You can get them for 10 to 15 bucks. A great gadget to have in your kitchen and use occasionally, especially for those times when you really need it. Speaking of ceviche, let's talk about presses. It's extremely convenient to have a lemon or lime press. You guys know out there, ceviche requires a lot of lime. And again, I mean, it's not just for ceviche, but having a good lemon press, something that's really portable, that I can easily grab and just press it over the food if I need to, or press it into a bowl that's very efficient and I know won't release any seeds, made out of metal and heavy duty material with a large opening. This is the perfect lemon press. I use this all the time and we love it. You just place the lemon or the lime in there, press it, all the juices come out. It's very efficient. I don't feel like there's much waste. You'll see it actually when you use it. The lime or the lemon wedges are just completely smushed up and flat. I really love this thing. It's heavy duty. I mean, you can knock someone over the head with it if you need to use it for, self-defense. Don't do that. It's a great gadget to have, and I think I paid somewhere around $10 for this, so for 10 bucks, it's something you're gonna use on a daily basis. Another item that I highly recommend that you're gonna use on a daily basis is a garlic press, a really good garlic press. Now, not all garlic presses are made equally. You need to be careful. Some of them aren't very efficient, and they only press out like 20 or 30% of the actual garlic. I think a good garlic press should be able to press out like 80%. They're not going to be 100% efficient. This one I've had for a really long time, and it's actually the older style ones that has like a little plunger here. It doesn't have much capacity. I mean, you can really only fit like 1 clove, maybe 2 cloves of garlic. But what I really love about it is it's extremely efficient. When that plunger goes in there, most of that garlic just squeezes out. I would say this is probably somewhere around 80 to 85%, maybe 90% efficient, which is really good for a garlic press. Now, I bought this like 10 years ago, so I don't think they make them like this anymore. The newer ones have a much larger opening, and they kind of look like the lemon press that I showed you guys before, where they actually have like a square plunger or a square arm, a square lever that actually, presses the garlic through. A good one's gonna set you back like around 20 bucks. They're well worth it, and the efficiency is around like 80 to 85%. Highly recommend a garlic press. Garlic enhances your cooking experience. It makes every single meal just way better, adds a lot of rich flavor. Having a garlic press that you can just press out garlic straight onto your food, especially when you're like making a sauce out of fond and you're just deglazing your pan is just amazing. Dicing garlic is great too, and that has its, pros and cons, but the majority of the time, I would say 9 times out of 10, I just grab the garlic press some garlic onto my food as I'm cooking it. I love the efficiency of this thing. I use a garlic press breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I use it every day, multiple times a day. I highly recommend one. You can get it for around 15 to 20 bucks. Okay, now let's talk about one of the most important items to have in your kitchen, and I'm talking about kitchen tongs. Kitchen tongs are something that's hit and miss for a lot of people. I think a lot of people end up buying really cheap ones, and then they just don't work out. They're not very good. They don't have good retention. They don't really grab your food. And then people are just kind of like put off by it. I'm gonna save you guys a lot of headache, and I'm gonna highly recommend the OXO Grip kitchen tongs. These ones are specifically made for the kitchen. They have great retention. The teeth grab almost anything. And what I love about them is the locking mechanism. Press it in, releases everything, you get a nice wide opening. To lock it back up, pull the lever, you're good to go. These are used daily by me and my wife. We use them all the time. I've had this one for 3 or 4 years. We beat the heck out of it. It's made out of stainless steel. The rubber coating has never degraded. You guys have seen it in a lot of my videos. And yeah, I recommend a kitchen version of this. They make a barbecue version. You don't want or need a 17-inch or 20-inch version of this for the barbecue in your kitchen. Leave that for the barbecue. This is the perfect size, comes in at 12 inches. It fits in the kitchen drawer or whatever, and it doesn't take up too much space, but definitely keeps your hand away from the hot skillet. So highly recommend one of these. You'll also find these really common in, your local stores where they come with the little silicone, attachments. This one's kind of like a knockoff of the OXO grip. Definitely has that pull mechanism, but you see here that it does not open up nearly as wide as the OXO grip. And when it does lock up, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel solid. It's a lot lighter. You can tell there's not much quality here. The other thing is, I don't know if you guys can tell, but there's a piece missing from the silicone. And I absolutely hate these things because it never actually grabs anything. Everything just slides off. We end up just taking off the silicone attachment. But as you guys can see here, it's not actually, something that you can use to grip things. It's just a rectangle. And then you get a lot of gunk and nasty stuff and crud that you have to clean afterwards. So I can't say that I recommend these. I think they're kind of cheap. I prefer not having the silicone tips and just, save yourself a lot of headache and money. Get the OXO grips. The OXO grips are usually found for around 15 bucks on Amazon. We talked about kitchen tongs. Now let's talk about spatulas. There's one spatula that I highly recommend you guys get right now. Just go buy it. It's going to make your life a lot easier, and that's going to be a fish spatula. If you guys don't know what a fish spatula is, it's basically designed to go under your food for those sticky situations and really help you just lift up and flip your food. You can see the one that I have here is made by OXO Grip. It has a really nice wide spatula surface with a really nice attack angle. I love how it slopes up like that, and it's really long. It always goes under my food, no problems. It has some pretty heavy duty welds in the back. It's very flexible, and I've never had any issues with this. It's always been extremely dependable. Now, I have another one that's a much smaller version that you typically see, and actually this one is a restaurant quality one with the wood grips. For our restaurant, we used to purchase a griddle spatula and this fish spatula. Actually, they came together in a pair, and we used to buy them in bulk. I mean, this is really good. It's very flexible. You can see it doesn't have that same, attack. It's not nearly as wide. It's not nearly as long, but you can usually purchase these in pairs. They actually come just like this, a griddle one and a fish spatula one. And I think the pair was usually like 10 bucks, right? When you buy it in bulk, if you have a restaurant, it's even cheaper. I mean, it does the trick just fine, but the OXO grip's just better. It's worth your money, I think. Now, with that being said though, this wooden one that came with that pair is fantastic. This one's more of a griddle one, right? For flipping burgers. It's not as flexible, although you do have some flexibility and you have a nice sharp edge at the top to kind of help you cut things. I would say if you really had to pick between one or the other, the fish spatula one is a little bit more useful, a little bit more flexible, no pun intended, than the actual griddle ones. I think if you do a lot of heavy cooking on the griddle where you need that extra strength and, to carry that extra weight, then yeah, get a griddle spatula. There's one more spatula that I really recommend, and that's a silicone high temperature spatula. This particular one's made by Oro. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I've always enjoyed using this when I do pick it up, especially if you're trying to avoid scratching your pan and so forth. But where this thing really shines is when you're making eggs, scrambled eggs, egg omelets, or fond, right? When you're making a sauce out of the fond, you can oftentimes find it around $10 to $15, but it is usually right around 12 bucks. If you can only buy two spatulas, I would say get the fish spatula by OXO Grip and this high temperature silicone one. And I think you're gonna be in really good hands. We use the fish spatula and the silicone spatula every single day. Another really important thing you can get for your kitchen is measuring cups. Or you can also get the ones that are kind of like a keychain. Those work well too, but I prefer the stainless steel cups. I want them to be bulletproof, easy to clean, and just be able to pick them up and go. This particular set starts off with a quarter cup all the way to one full cup, and I think that's plenty. If you have, a quarter cup, 1/3, 1/2 a cup. If you're a new cook in particular, you should have measuring cups or some form of, measuring devices in your kitchen to help you nail the recipe down, at least initially, until you start kind of learning how to cook on your own. I think it's incredibly important to see and visualize what, a quarter of a cup looks like or a half of a cup looks like. And when it comes down to making things like rice, it's pretty important that you get it, perfect because you're going to be mixing it with water or so forth. And you know, if you don't do it right, you might overcook or burn your rice. And that rice cooker that I mentioned earlier relies on you heavily to give it the perfect ratio between water and the actual rice that you're trying to cook. You know, not only for making rice, but just in general, when you're starting off, it's nice to see the actual ingredients and the quantities of each ingredient and what it looks like. And then later on, once you start getting more familiar and you're more comfortable with cooking, you can probably guesstimate or estimate yourself, and oftentimes it'll be spot on. So get yourself a good set of measuring cups. These ones came in at $7 for the set. Here's one more cool little gadget that I got, and this is a manual shredder. And I actually didn't think we were gonna use this too often, and it ended up being a really cool device that, you know, we keep. You can kind of clamp it down to your countertop. It has like a little suction cup. It doesn't work too well on all countertops, but like for us, for example, we have like a tile, you know, countertop. And as long as we find like a relatively flat area, because our countertop is really old and needs to be remodeled, you know, we kind of wet it a little bit. It tends to stay put and in place, you know, pretty well. But we love this thing. I mean, it's all manual. There's nothing, you know, there's nothing automatic about this thing. This is actually really great to have if you like making traditional breakfast style hash browns. Put whatever it is that you need in there and shred it. It's very efficient. Everything slides right off. I love that it disassembles and breaks down really easily for easy cleanup. You can actually slide this out, but I don't have enough hands to do that. This whole thing just breaks apart, and you can either stick it in a dishwasher if you want to, or hand wash it. The company gives you many different attachments. They're extremely sharp, so be careful with them. I mean, you can make julienne slices. There's a lot of things you can do, and it's been incredibly useful. I wouldn't say I use this on a daily basis, but you know, at least a few times a week. It just helps in prep work, getting things ready, and primarily we use it right now to grate our cheese. So I highly recommend it. It comes in at $20, but oftentimes you'll see it with a special coupon for $15. Okay, we talked a lot about items for when you're actually cooking, like spatulas and so forth, and we even talked about prep work, but let's talk about cleanup. And there's two items that I highly recommend for everybody. Whether you're a stainless steel user, carbon steel, cast iron, it just doesn't matter, because no matter what pan you have at the end, you still need to clean it. You guys have probably seen this kitchen brush in a lot of my videos, and I used to buy a lot of the 99-cent store, you know, version of this. I ended up finding one made by OxoGrip. Again, another OxoGrip item. They are not sponsoring this video or any of the products I'm giving you guys. They just happen to be a really good company, and I tend to buy a lot of their stuff, but this is made by OxoGrip. I love this brush because the entire thing can be taken apart and you can actually replace the head, the brush heads from OxoGrip. The bottom is a really good non-drip, non-leak, you know, catch cover. The ones that I usually get from, you know, the 99-cent store, they tend to just leak and I would have to throw them out. With the 99-cent store ones, you have to rebuy the whole thing. Now, usually, yeah, you bought them at $1, but the bristles never really lasted. The OxoGrip's different. The bristles last for quite a long time. Now you can see that this one, you know, is getting really dirty. I use it quite a bit. I have several different head attachments, so I'm probably gonna toss the head out on this one and replace it right after this video. But I really like that it holds a really large capacity for your soap. And it's really never let me down. You press the button, it sprays out the soap, and then you can really scrub out your pans. Now, oftentimes you might have a really stubborn mess, and specifically with some food particles that just won't come off. This is a scraper made by Lodge. I bought this thing, oh my God, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. You can see that it's been beat to hell. It's been chipping off, but it's worked really well. When you buy this thing brand new, obviously the corners aren't broken, but what's really nice about it is each corner kind of represents a specific contour for different pans. So if you want to necessarily clean the inside with the actual contour, the actual chamfer of your pan may be, they have a corner for that if you want to clean the outside. But what I really like about it is they really designed it for versatility. You can clean a saute pan, no problem, frying pan, pots. I mean, they really thought about every edge and every corner. The plastic scraper by Lodge comes in at like $5. Oftentimes you'll see it paired with a silicone handle cover for you cast iron fans out there. And the plastic brush soap dispenser by OxoGrip comes in at $7. And I think the replacement heads are like $2 each or $3 each. But OxoGrip does usually sell these in bulk, and they're a lot cheaper when you do buy them in bulk. So for cleanup, These two little, very inexpensive gadgets will make your life way more easier. Okay guys, so that's basically it. I mean, I can keep going and going and going, and there are other items that I can think of right now that I would love to present to you guys, but I wanted to make this video relatively short. I don't want it to be, 30 minutes long. If you want a part 2 with more kitchen items that are incredibly useful for you guys, let me know in the comments below, and I will, of course, make that video for you. But as promised, everything I presented to you guys today is useful. It's not something that I'm trying to sell you as a gadget just to sell you. I really think that every item here will help you be a better and more efficient cook. And that's the word that I want to focus on, is efficiency. I like to get in the kitchen, know where everything's at, prep really quickly and do multiple things all at once. I like to be quick and consistent, and every item here, whether it's prep work or actually cooking your food or even cleanup, will make you a lot more efficient and consistent, and hopefully will make the entire cooking experience very, very pleasant for you, especially for you new cooks out there that are just getting started. A lot of people are going to try to sell you really expensive things for your kitchen, telling you you need to buy an air fryer or whatever, and trust me, there's nothing wrong with those things. And they're great assets to have, but oftentimes these little things, these little details here, just kitchen tools, kitchen utensils, kitchen cookware, is really the main driving factor to being successful in the kitchen and enjoying cooking and coming up with great recipes. So that's it for me, guys. I hope you found this video informative. Check out some of my other videos, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Take care, everybody. Hey, everybody. How'd you guys like that last video? Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified on my next video. And if you can, please share with your family and friends. I would really appreciate it. Here's some more content that I think you guys are really gonna enjoy. Check them out. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.